Okay, so we have now created our half cylinder and converted it to an edible poly. And we are going to start moving. Sorry, that was my cat again. We're going to start moving around. We're going to start with the vertex. So we're going to start moving around vertices to start to get our cylinder into more of a shape that looks like our character, which is the whole purpose of polygon modeling. All right, so one of the things I want to do here is hit the F4 key on my keyboard, and you see what happens? I now get the grid that shows the edges in white, but it gives me the opportunity to see the connection and work on a grid. I'm going to come down here and click on my perspective view and turn it on there as well. You can toggle that on and off with that F4. Actually, I'm going to leave it off down here so I can just see what I'm working on. And again, don't model in perspective. Only work in your front, top, and left views. Okay, so I'm now on Vertex, and I see my vertices. And what I can begin to start doing, let's see, so that I don't manipulate my plane. Oh, I must have blocked it. Okay, you can lock your plane so you don't manipulate your plane. I don't remember doing that, but I must have because I can't select it now. Okay. Okay, so now Vertex. And what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start to move these vertices over. And I can select multiples by doing this crossing window, because I want to start to bring my points closer together. Okay. Now, same thing here. I'm moving these further in so that it starts to align with the shape of my character. Whoops, selected one too many there. Now, I've got soft selection on. I'm going to turn soft selection off for now, and I will show you guys that in the next video. I just want to show you this basic moving of the vertices by selecting them and moving them to start to get them into shape. Okay. So that's all I'm doing right now is I'm looking at my character and saying I'm going to start to move, sculpt the half cylinder to start to create a shape. Okay, I have created this larger than my outline here, you'll see, and here's why I did that. When I eventually go in and add my TurboSmooth modifier, you see how it shrinks my model? I'm kind of trying to allow for a little of that right now. I'm just going to turn this off so it's not a problem. I'm trying to allow for a little bit of that right now because I know that it's going to shrink. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Another thing I want to do is I want to go into my edge mode and move some of my edges around. Whoops, let's do this. Select my edge and create a ring. Oops, nope, no, not a ring. Create a loop. Thought it was a loop. There we go, create a loop. And I want to move these just a little bit lower here. Let's see, there's going to be my points are going to come off there. This is going to be my face. Loop. Nope, those are going to be my points. Sorry. And then loop. And this is going to be my face. looks about right. And then I've got to decide where I want to put my arms. Let's actually move this back up a little bit. Okay, I actually like that better. Okay. And I'm going to extrude my arms out of one of these polygons. Okay. And that looks pretty good. It's not exact. I can spend a lot of time going in and moving these around and making them more precise. And I would recommend that you do a little bit more than I have here. I'm just trying to get this done in a little brief intro video. But take the time to craft this. Go ahead and apply your TurboSmooth modifier, because you can turn it on and off so you can see how it looks when it's done. And I've got a good start. Now, this is just the front. If you start to look at this in the left and the top view, there's more that I need to do in these views. This is where you would have that second side view to work with. I'm just going to, let's go back to Vertex mode. And can move these. I've done something with this. I've locked this view, I think. I don't know how I did that. There we go. And then start to model. I'm doing the same thing in my left view that I was doing in my front view. Zoom in there a little more. Where I'm starting to bring in my points, my vertex. And a side view would help with this. I didn't set the side view up just for the sake of brevity and to get the other videos to you faster. I'm just kind of looking at my guy over here. He's kind of symmetrical over here. So I could set this up actually as a second plane over here and use that as a guide. It helps to have guides, and you're always going to have sketches. Oops. Alright, and so I would just begin to start to do over here. Right, you see it starting to curve. And it can continue. I'm getting ready to get off screen. All the things that I did over there. Okay? And that is the start of how you do polygon subobject intermediate model. Now, let's turn this back on, my TurboSmooth. Symmetry. You want to drag that down below your TurboSmooth. You see why? Look what happens when the TurboSmooth is below Symmetry. It creates this cleave between the two sides that we don't want. So, okay. So you see I'm starting to create this little round chubby character with my editing, symmetry, and TurboSmooth. And those you can leave them there and just turn them off when you're working, and then just turn them on to check. You can work with them on, but it's not true to what's there for your simple model. Okay, so those are the very basics, and you want to spend time working with it, looking at it in your front view, looking at it in your top view, looking at it in your left view, evaluating it in your perspective, because you can move this up. You can, you know, take a look at it, see how it's coming along. Do I like this? Or let me get my orbit subobject. Here we go. Do I like this? Is it working? I think it looks good. That looks really, really good for just a few minutes worth of moving some things around. And I'm starting to see, I'm starting to create this interesting character. Now, I'm going to relocate this like that. Now, if I go to my polygon subobject, somewhere in here, and I have to decide where that is, and I think it's going to be here, I'm going to extrude his arms. Now, I want to use bevel for that, and I want to, even though he has sort of, it looks like he has a single little flap for his arm, I'm actually going to create the opportunity for him to bend his arm. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this, right? So I'm going to hit bevel, not extrude, but bevel, because I want to be able to point it. Let me bring my caddy over here. Oops. There we go. So here's my caddy. And arm is right here. Make sure that's the one I want. Yes. Okay. So got my caddy, and I'm beveling off this arm. And initially, let's see, something like that. Because I like to work with whole numbers, I'm just going to type in 12. And then I have to determine, whoops, clicked off of it. There we go. Click it again. And then I have to determine how much of a taper I want. So this is, again, your estimate. You're estimating what you think looks right based on the sketch. Okay? And then I'm going to do a second bevel on top of that. And that's going to, you see it's creating that joint right there? I'm going to allow it to create another joint. Now I'm going to make this one shorter and more tapered. Looks pretty good. Okay, now turn on my TurboSmooth, and that looks pretty good. Now I can go in and edit all of these as well, same as I did with my other, but you see now I've got little arms. Okay, and I'm going to stop there for this video, and we'll continue in the next.